This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. So with all the talk of consequence for Donald Trump, with all the talk of prosecution of Donald Trump, sorry, I'm all over the place here, smashing my mic, adjusting my collar, it's almost as though I've never done this before. With all that talk, a lot of people have been down. They get depressed. They get bummed out about the fact that we're not seeing any movement, especially from the federal government. Like, where's Merrick Garland? What's he doing? Collecting a paycheck, to be sure. But doesn't seem to be chasing down leads relative to holding Donald Trump accountable for his many crimes. Finally, we have a Republican, Liz Cheney, who has what it takes to step up and suggest, hey, you know what? Maybe we will. Maybe Donald Trump can be prosecuted for obstructing Congress, obstructing congressional duties outlined by the Constitution. If we truly have a justice system where no one is above the law, then why is he not being looked at after hundreds of individuals have made the case that they did what they did on January 6th because Donald Trump told them to do so? If that's a legitimate defense, they told him to do it, then he has involvement as well and should be prosecuted. I'm going to read a little bit from this Business Insider article. Liz Cheney might be onto something with criminal charges for Trump, legal experts say. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell offered a stern caveat in February after voting to acquit Donald Trump at the conclusion of his second impeachment trial. The former president, McConnell said then, was, quote, still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary citizen. He didn't get away with anything yet, the Kentucky Republican added. And that is where we are. He still is getting away with everything unless a case is made. And again, I'm going to say this. The reason I continue to talk about this, even though so many people call and tell me, no, they're never going to do anything, nothing's going to happen, we have a two-tier justice system, there are shades of truth in all of those things I just said, shades. But without our righteous indignation, without us raising our voices and demanding something be done, we can be assured nothing will be done. It is through activism and organization that things change. Because if you sit on your hands and boo-hoo, you can guarantee nothing's going to happen. On the other side of the Capitol, another well-known Republican lawmaker is now getting way more specific about the potential legal consequences awaiting Trump over his role in inciting the deadly January 6th attack that halted the official certification of the 2020 presidential election. In recent days, Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming has drawn attention with public remarks that directly address Trump's potential criminal culpability in connection with the Capitol siege. And here is where it gets good, that we finally have someone with some sense of duty to the Constitution. Listen, Liz Cheney isn't the worst, but she's the worst. She's Dick Cheney's kid. There's all kinds of problems with her relative to her policy positions and her bigotry. But if we can find an ally in someone who can put a Republican face on calling out the truth relative to Donald Trump's crimes, then I'm here for it. Cheney, the Republican vice chair of the House committee investigating January 6th, called attention to a federal statute making it illegal to obstruct an official proceeding. The daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney spoke up about Trump's legal liability as the panel took steps to hold his former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress for ceasing cooperation with lawmakers' probe. Quote, Mr. Meadows' testimony will bear on a key question in front of this committee. Did Donald Trump, through action or inaction, corruptly seek to obstruct or impede Congress's official proceedings to count electoral votes? Cheney said. Mr. Meadows' testimony will inform our legislative judgments on those issues. This is one reason why Mark Meadows is refusing to testify. Donald Trump is going to want to shield himself from any consequence, even though it does not matter with 40% of the country The clowns in the Republican Party who believe all of his nonsense, his fabrication that there was voter fraud, that he won. The justice system should act. He should be held accountable despite whatever position of power he once held. He is now a private citizen, an ex-president. If he breaks the law, and if he broke the law outside of the normal course of his duties that would shield him from prosecution, that doesn't normally shield when you break the law, but lots of people think he should be held for crimes that are just presidential. Normal bullshit being president duties. This was not one of them. In those remarks, legal experts saw a clear reference to a charge that the Justice Department has already brought against hundreds of January 6 defendants, corruptly obstructing an official proceeding. It is the statute that could be relevant for any prosecution of Trump if evidence emerges that he planned or was aware of the violence that unfolded on January 6th. We know he was aware. From the text messages, we know he was aware. From his statement that he put out on Twitter before he got kicked off of Twitter, we know he was aware. Quote, "It all depends on the facts. If the people who stormed the Capitol can be prosecuted for obstructing a congressional proceeding, if he played a role in that, then he's equally liable, whether it's instigating it, aiding it, and abetting it, planning it," said Randall Eliason, a former federal prosecutor and now a professor at George Washington University Law School. Quote, "But they have to show that he had some kind of role as opposed to he sees it happen, sits back and enjoys it, but doesn't do anything. They have to show that he played some role in causing it, not that the riot went out of control and he just gleefully watched it happen," Eliason added. Listen, it seems to me to be an open and shut case, an easy case to make. Now, that would be left to prosecutors. I think there's talented enough prosecutors within the Justice Department to make it happen. But they need to actually endeavor to do it. Here's the last part of this. The obstruction charge upheld in one Capitol rioter case. Cheney isn't exactly pulling from thin air with her reference to the federal criminal code. Just days before her most recent remarks, a federal judge in Washington, D.C. upheld the Justice Department's use of the obstruction of congressional proceedings charge in a key January 6th case. Judge Dabney Frederick, a Trump appointee on the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, rejected arguments from two Capitol riot defendants that Congress's certification of now President Joe Biden's electoral victory wasn't an official proceeding for the purposes of the statute. The judge also dismissed assertions that the term corruptly was unconstitutionally vague in the statute and that the two defendants' conduct didn't obstruct, influence, and impede the proceedings of January 6th. So even Trump judges, even Donald Trump appointed judges are saying GTFO with that. Those are nonsense arguments. You are guilty. So where is Merrick Garland? Why is there not a case being drawn up against Donald Trump? Why isn't evidence being brought before a grand jury to convict Donald Trump, to charge Donald Trump with obstruction of congressional proceedings? Because that, just from his speech on the ellipse that day, we know what his intent was. We know. What do you think, though? I would love to know that. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Thanks for your time and attention today. As always, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being active and being engaged and being passionate about these things. It is easy to get discouraged. Trust me, I know. Although I am often accused by my podcast audience of being too optimistic about things. I get down too. I get disheartened about the lack of action and the people who are supposed to be protecting us and protecting the rule of law, Democrats, are not getting it done. and it bumps me out. But only through our action, only through our activism, only through our organization are we going to be able to hold people accountable. If we sit on our hands and do nothing, nothing will be done. Follow me on social media. I'd love to connect with you there. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, social media. And if I bring you some value on a day-to-day basis, a smile or information, please consider supporting my work here on the platform. You can click the join button below this video, see what's involved in becoming a channel member. And for $1.99 a month, you can become a channel member, helping produce and support what I do here. Or you can head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That's another fantastic way to help support what I do here. As you see, I'm moving to DC inside of 2 or 3 weeks, last week of the month. Movers are showing up. We're jumping in the car and driving. And this operation is going to change and grow and become better. I want you to be a part of that. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.